Hari Om and welcome to all the divine Atma Jyotis. So let us continue our contemplation of Advaita Makaranda. Arjunji, you have a question. Please
Yeah.
continue.
Desha Kala Vastu, the other day we were having discussion.
Yeah,
Desha was clear that, like, I am boundaryless.
yeah,
You know. Now, Kala and Vastu,
yeah,
that was bit confusing for me. I got confused. It's not
yeah.
that. So, how do I get a distinction of Kala and Vastu? That was where I was stuck. Even
Okay,
though it looked clear that day,
yeah.
but I felt afterwards I could not get a comprehension of
Yeah.
it.
So when we think of Vastu, how do we know that a Vastu is there? Because there are various expressions of the Vastu that we notice and we list what we can call as qualities, attributes, guna. So as an example, that's why we took the fire as an example. So how do you know fire is there? You list various attributes. Oh, fire burns. Oh, fire has this color. Oh, fire has this intensity, so on and so forth. In them, when you list all these things, that is how you know that a vastu exists in the first place, and a vastu can be experienced. So there are two aspects associated which are always there when you are experiencing a vastu. A vastu exists in a space and in a particular time. We'll come to the space and time aspect separately, but first we are understanding about the vastu. So various attributes get listed about vastu. In these attributes, actually, there are two distinct kinds of attributes. One attribute we can call as, in Sanskrita, we can call it as guna. Another attribute we can call it as swarupa. In other words, a rough translation could be changing attribute and changeless attribute, or dependent attribute and independent attribute. So when you notice the list of attributes that we can list for fire itself, fire burns, fire has color, fire has intensity. So let's take simply these three attributes. Fire has color depends upon what is the nature of the fire, meaning what the object on which it is burning and what kind of environment in which it is burning. Sometimes the fire appears orange color, sometimes red color, sometimes blue color. So there's a lot of physical requirements on which it depends. The color is there, but it depends on various other conditions. It is not always the same color. So what we can say, it is a dependent attribute. It is a dependent phenomena. Color appears whenever fire is burning, color appears, but it is dependent on so many other factors. So is the case with intensity. So the intensity of fire depends upon on what object it is burning and how much object it is consuming. So if, let's say, in a lamp that you may have kept in front of your, let's say, God's room, the intensity of that fire will be very small. Whereas for whatever reason, let's say there is a fire that has broken in the wild, and many a times we see that, oh, it is consuming so many hectares of forest. The intensity is very high. So like that, intensity also depends upon where it is burning. What are the various physical conditions in which it is burning? Again, a dependent attribute. It depends upon where and what conditions are there. Now let's look at another attribute that we took out of the three: color, intensity, and fire burns. For example, the moment you keep your hand, the burning sensation. So now the burning sensation is swarupa, independent. Whether it is a big fire or a small fire, whether it's an orange fire or a red fire, it burns. That is the nature, very nature of fire. So these are the various attributes, and in the attributes we have independent and dependent, Swarupa and Guna, Lakshanas. This is how you and I come to recognize about any particular object. When in a similar way, when you think of yourself, a particular being, how would you describe various attributes? Generally, it starts by biological attributes, the body based attributes: manly body, womanly body, tall body, short body, fat body. So, like that, so on and so forth, so many different attributes and various qualities that you can identify through the body, they get listed first. Similarly, various mental attributes: very sharp, very dull, very kind, very harsh. So, like that, so many kinds of attributes that somebody displays. In sum total, we call all of them as personality. It's a sum total of nothing but what is observable through the body, what is observable through the various behaviors, and those are not in the body. For example, Indianness is not in the body. From the body, you cannot make out whether somebody is an Indian or not Indian. It is in the way they maybe dress, in the way they speak, in the way they carry themselves in different situations, how they relate to different aspects of life. So, Indianness is not in the body, but it is something coming from a subtler space called as mind. But all of these are attributes, gunas. Why? Because these are all gathered, these are dependent. What are they dependent on? They all must be dependent on something, no? If somebody asks somebody a name and somebody says, my name is, and they give whatever name, to be able to say the name, they must be there. Something must be there before the name was given to that particular person. Before the child starts saying, my name is, what is there in the child? So there is something that is independent of all these attributes that are gathered as one journeys through various situations of life. So fifth grade attribute, I have passed fifth grade. Today you may have passed, say, 12th grade. So like that, the attributes are changing, but something that is not changing, because of which all these changing attributes can be coming and going. So that is the first distinction that we need to bring when we think in terms of attributes. So you are not the real you. You are not the attributes through which you may identify yourself as. You are not a body, you are not a mind, you are not the intellect. That is the general uh, instruction given. What is body? All these things. What is mind? All these ideas. What is intellect? Which decides. So this is about the vastu. Is this clear, first of all? Arjunji, are you there? Arjunji?
I'm clear about this.
Uh,
This can also be looked at like you can have various in water, vapor, and ice. This also can be an example, of the object. What is
Correct.
changing?
Because it's underlying is water,
Hmm.
but it appears as vapor, appears as ice, appears as liquid. Yeah, correct. So these are all the various shapes of that vastu. The
Correct.
shapes of the vastu are changing constantly. So for something to appear in the different shapes, there must be something. What is that something that is not changing? Currently, we are referring to it as water. But the moment we say water, we still identify some form in the mind. The formless is the water, not that liquid thingy. That is just a
Correct.
liquid form of water, not just the ice thingy. That is the solid form of water, not the vapor thingy. That is a vapor form of water. So there is something called a water, which is itself inherently shapeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has a certain foundational attribute without which you cannot recognize it anymore as water. Like how fire burns, water cools, as an example, right? So that's the nature of water, inherent nature of water. So like that, when we look at the attributes, when we say vastu, these two kinds of attributes we have to identify, distinguish, and know what is not changing, what is changing. And this is with respect to the real self. Satchitananda is the Swarupa Lakshana. Rest everything, whatever that is else identified, are all mind, body, intellect related. They are dependent attributes. They come and go. Various other 100 million ways by which we identify ourselves. All that is dependent. The only independent is Satchidananda. Is this distinction clear, Ji?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now comes the time. Very easy. Where is time? What is time? Time is nothing but a mental phenomena. Because in the mind, the distance between two thoughts is seen as the time. So time itself is a psychologically made up phenomena. It is made up in the mind. So you are independent of time. You're above time. You're kala atita. You're above time. That is why you are able to notice time. You couldn't have been time. You couldn't have been bound by time. Otherwise, you couldn't be noticing time. You're able to notice time. You're able to say something like yesterday, today, oh, tomorrow, this happened. Oh, time flew like this. Time, oh, it was very boring. All these can only be said by someone who must be able to notice time also. So, you are kala atita. And space. You're not bound in a particular space. What is bound is the shapes of that water that are changing. So the ice appears in a fridge, so it is bound in that space. But the inherent object, water, is not bound by that space. It is independent of that. Its appearance is bound by space. So superimposing that I am bound by space, I am bound by time, I am bound by these attributes is the self-inflicted limitation or self-imposed limitation that a GV imposes. The moment I get identified with any of these, I superimpose limitation upon something which itself has no limitations. Is this bringing a clarity, Ji?
Yeah, time. Now, still the time, okay, I superimpose like this. The physical phenomena of time is different. Then, uh, but I'm still confused about it. Not like the time part of it.
Okay.
Like,
So, see, you as awareness, you are the one who's noticing time.
yeah,
So, what you are noticing, can you be that which you are noticing?
no.
As simple as that. So, time is dependent on you. So, you are independent of time. You're not audible, Arjunji.
I got it. And the beauty of these discussions are when we discuss it, it's clear, but sometimes we go out and again get confused in the whole process.
Yeah. And the reason is when one starts functioning in life, the functional aspect of life takes over the mind space. So When you have to, let's say, for example, cook, the various objects of the cooking take place in they take the place of the various objects in the mind. That is why this is Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa. So as this continues to happen, it is not that these are two different things and we need to let go of the so-called physical phenomena. It is just that at the same time, both coexist. See, without the Kali space, the open space, there cannot be object, right? But the focus is usually on the object. We tend to ignore the open space in which the object exists. So, Shravana Manana Nididhyasa brings the focus to both. And depending upon what you want to do, you can easily zoom in, zoom out. It is like the photography, like videography. Sometimes you can focus on the foreground, sometimes on the background. But both coexist. They're not two separate things. They are always there together. Is this bringing clarity, Arjunji?
Yeah, but I'm getting clarity. But at the same time, we can also the same thing for the screen and the or water the wave both coexist. They're not independent. Am I right?
Yeah, because for wave to exist, it has to be in water. It has to have water.
Or
Water
ocean.
itself is appearing as wave.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what you can, through Viveka, what you can say is wave is dependent phenomena and water is independent phenomena. Wave depends on water. Without water, there cannot be a wave at all. But without wave also water can be.
Correct.
Yeah. But when wave appears, we can see both the foreground and the background. That is water and the wave. So it is actually to notice if there was no wave, identifying water would have been very difficult. Yeah. So in that sense, change or what is change? All these saguna, meaning all these various things that we see, they're all nothing but therefore like wave, pointer to water only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Arjunji. Hariom Satish ji, Hariom Manasa ji.
Hariom, Hariom,
Hariom Vijay ji.
Hariom, Vijay ji.
Does anybody else like to add anything more to what we just now discussed before we move on to next question of the day?
Vijayji,
Yes.
you were mentioning about the functional mind and one more mind. What is that mind?
So when we are interacting in the world, we tend to focus our mind on the what is happening, right? So when we say what is happening, what is that is happening? There is a continuous in terms of the eyes. Okay, let's speak in terms of each of the indriyas. When something is happening, what do we mean something is happening? I see some changes that are visible through the eyes. So as an
Yes.
example, if let's say I'm cooking and let's say I am right now chopping the vegetables, there was a big vegetable, long carrot. As I start chopping, it starts becoming smaller and smaller. So the mind starts focusing on these changes that are happening. because there's a purpose. There's oh, I need to make food for my family, whatever, right? So like that, the eyes start noticing the shape changes. The ears start hearing, the chopping sound, the knife hitting the board, so on and so forth. So the mind, which is noticing all these from the five sense organs. So the nose is noticing the smell. As you are chopping, there may be some other smell of maybe you would have put something on the stove, and suddenly there may be a smell of, something seems to be overburning. So like that, all that change is the nature of what we call as this phenomenal world. And this change is observable only through these five senses. And the, the mind is the owner of these five senses, in the sense that all these five senses are reporting to the mind. And it is in the mind that, you are classifying, oh, that happened, this is, I should have done this first, and next I should do this. Oh, I need to turn off. Hey, come, turn off the stove. I'm busy here cutting. All these, mind is busy. The mind is employed doing what is needed to be done in that moment. So what happens is the focus is on what is being done. The focus is on the thing that is being cooked. Focus is on the, oh, I need to serve the family. But at the same time, you, the pure awareness, are simply there, in whose presence all this change is happening. So the ego entity shifts to, like in the videography example, shifts to the foreground. Let's say, there's a videographer taking photo in a marriage function. The focus is more on the boy and the girl. Smile, please, come forward. But, there's a nice background and there are people walking around. Those things may be caught, may not be caught by the videographer or the photographer. Why? The focus is on the boy and the girl. But at the same time, the others are also there, very much there. So when I use the word functional mind, what I meant is the mind is focused on observing these, what is need to be done phenomena. Then all of this is happening in your own divine presence. So the presence is not necessarily recognized as part of the phenomena, is ignored. So becoming aware that both coexist and one is dependent on the other, and I am that independent, is the getting established in your true nature. Then the same change is happening, but the change itself will not bother, because change is the very nature of how life is. Does this bring clarity?
Yes, Vijay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other points? Anybody? Or any other questions? Okay. Then let's move on to our today's next question. So far, we have contemplated up to question number 9. In our last session, we focused on what is self-ignorance, how does it go away. In our today's session, let us begin from apta vaakya. What is apta vaakya and what is the purpose it serves? That is the beginning question for today. Does anyone feel like you want to volunteer first? What is apta vaakya and what is the purpose of the apta vaakya? Manasaji, would you be willing to start?
You can try. So apta vaakya is a teaching by a realized master, and the purpose is to remove ignorance from the disciple. My sentence is very short, but this is what my understanding is.
Perfectly okay. When the
Yeah.
sentence is short, we call it as Mahavakya.
Okay.
If the sentence is long, we call it as a Vyakhyana or Upanyasa. So,
Yeah.
okay, so you said, the purpose is
Remove ignorance from the disciple.
remove ignorance from the disciple. Okay. Now, when we use the word, or when you are using the word ignorance, what are you referring to, Ji?
Ignorance, when I said, I'm referring to um, the understanding what the disciple may have about the body and the mind and the intellect. So, in the beginning, the disciple may not understand that himself as a Brahman, but a guru tries to teach him and make him understand you are not this body alone, you are not this mind, you are not the intellect, you are more than this. And through his teachings, he tries to make him understand that he is Brahman. So, yeah, to remove, yeah.
To remove ignorance about who I am is what you're
Yeah,
saying, yes?
yeah, correct.
Okay. And why do you think it is called as apta vakya? Any viewpoint on these two words, apta and vakya?
Uh, no, but I think it is because of since the guru is the one who takes him to light, and that's why it is called apta vakya.
Okay, that's how you see it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ji.
Thank you, Jason.
Satish Ji, you want to go next?
Yeah, Vijay, Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Also, the topic Advaita Makaranda here, it touches about non-duality and meaning oneness, and that's the core statement. So that is what is the essence of the whole text, and that's what we can consider as apta vakya. And I think apta means I was just checking. Um, it is it's a statement. I mean, it's a trustworthy statement. It is coming from a reliable source, and as we know, the source is from our Vedanta or Upanishads, and these are from non-human. I mean, the source is non-human, and it uses the basis of understanding that we are the Brahman. Yeah, that's what I've learned.
So for you, apta vakya is the
Trustworthy statement.
trustworthy. And for you, what is trustworthy?
So that which I can follow and lead my life, and take that as a basis when there are ups and downs, and get to it in every aspect of life.
Okay. What are they for you? What is trustworthy sources of vakyas for you?
So whatever we have, I am that. I mean, the four Mahavakyas are there. No?
So the scriptures are a source of trust for you.
Through Guru. Yeah, because otherwise we are not at that level of self-understanding. So through our gurus, where these are made simpler and understandable in a common man's language.
Okay. So the source of trust is it the guru on whom you have trust, or is it the Shastra? Which is the source of trust for you?
It is Guru only. Guru and our satsang. Yeah.
Okay. How did you develop that trust, Satish ji?
So when shaken up and when in different situations, the guidance that it provides to come back to our that eternal state, which is Satchitananda, right? We keep falling, moving, losing from such state, and when we uh, get back to the gurus, advisors, or when we adhere to his teachings, this helps us back to regain the strength. Yeah, that's where helps us to regain the trust. I mean, it is putting us into that space where we have to be always. So that journey makes trust.
So various situations and the kind of guidance that you have been receiving are reinforcing your sense of trust.
Yeah,
And therefore, the next statement is also considered as trustworthy.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. And what is your
Other,
viewpoint on what? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
otherwise, there is no stand to make because there is some reference point we need to return to always, and that reference point basis who can put more concrete or more strength to it is from Guru.
So, Manasaji referred to something called as an ignorance. Um, what is your viewpoint about is apta vaakya related to ignorance or not?
Yeah, yeah. The ups and downs are always. I mean, from the situations we face and the feelings, the emotions, and the attachments are all ignorance, and how to manage them and how to understand that we are that only. I mean, that's where we can get out of ignorance.
Okay. So the apta vaakya's purpose is to remove ignorance. You also are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Anything
That's a,
more you'd like to?
it's a basic statement like when we say this theorems and postulates, right? It's a postulate, it's a truth.
It's a truth. Can you differentiate between those three words, theorem, postulate, and truth?
Uh, okay. Theorems require extensive proof, and postulates is, I think, postulate and truth are same because postulates do not require any proof or any steps to prove that. That's what is my understanding. Yeah.
So according to you, truth is equivalent of postulate.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, can you illustrate with an example?
Okay. I think the one that comes to me for a theorem is that hypotenuse, that triangle, right, where the two sides, when we add up, is equivalent to.
Yeah, in a right angle triangle, the
Yeah,
hypotenuse square is
yeah,
equal to the
yeah,
sum of the
yeah.
squares of the sides.
Sides of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
squares of the side. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Okay.
That requires proof and workout and elaborate steps.
Hmm.
And I think postulates I'm not able to recollect, but I can related to the number system,
Hmm.
the values that we give to the number system, right?
Hmm.
0, 1, 2, 3.
Hmm.
So don't think we give a proof to the number system. 1 is 1 and 2 is 2. The value.
So postulates have to be simply accepted.
Yeah.
And you're saying truth has a similar quality like a postulate.
Mm, mm.
It is to be simply accepted.
Yeah.
But how do you know it can be accepted?
Because
So, for example, let me clarify that with an additional question. So, if Sadhguru says, "You are Brahman," so is it to be simply accepted?
initially no, but when it becomes a apta vaakya, then yes. So it does require that, but it is a postulate. But if we have to get into that space, um, the trust with the guru would have been established already.
Okay. So that I get it clearly, I'm asking.
Yeah.
So it's a postulate initially. When you say that, in some way you seem to be distinguishing that statement. Uh, Eventually it becomes something else. Initially it starts as a postulate, is how I am interpreting what you are
No,
saying.
no, it's the other way.
Hmm.
Because of our trustworthy with our guru, we take that as a postulate. Otherwise, we go on seeking for proof, asking questions.
So what you are saying is, because of the trust in the guru,
Yeah,
you accept it.
yeah, we accept it. Yeah.
So
Basically, it's a postulate only. But
hmm,
if I'm coming to the guru for the first time, and if
hmm,
the guru says this is apta vaakya,
hmm,
then the acceptance levels will not be there. We will ask more questions and keep on probing.
hmm,
But if I've already established with our guru,
hmm.
then we take that based on our all the experiences that what guru is saying. I think I'm mixing up.
Okay, okay. So see, generally, there is a word also called as thesis, right? Hypothesis. Is hypothesis and a postulate similar or different for you?
I think it is different. Hypothesis is just a proposal
Hmm.
which could be rejected or which could be approved also.
Hmm. Whereas postulate, it is
It's like
it is
universal truth, I think.
unshakable,
Yeah.
unshakable, and you don't necessarily need to validate it, is what you're
Right.
saying.
Right. Based
Okay.
on the individual's level of connect with the guru and his understanding of scriptures or Vedanta. Yeah, that also plays.
Hmm.
Because everyone doesn't accept it. But postulate is something that if you say that, it is accepted without any further discussions, right? When I say the number one is one, it is
So then just to again stretch the discussion, so that we gain some more clarity. So Sadhguru said, "You are that," and if that is a postulate, which is according to you is truth, then there is no more discussion. So Shravana has happened.
yeah,
Guru uttered, Shravana has happened. So the work should be done then. Why
yeah.
there
But
is a need for?
Maya,
uh,
the influences we get day in day out, the roles we play day in day out, and the Maya's main purpose is to disturb that understand.
if
So
that
to
understanding
reinforce,
is accepted, if that understanding
yeah,
is accepted, then the job is done, no? Where is the need for any additional reinforcements, such as the manana or
Yeah.
what we refer as
For a
nididhyas?
self-realized person, I don't think the other activities is required. Like we saw one of the presentation slide where Guruji suggests to drop everything. But are we self-realized because we keep falling and getting up? Yeah. For that purpose, unless we reach there, all this is required.
So is it okay to say then, based on what you are saying, is it okay to say it's a truth, but the truth may not have been completely accepted? And that is the reason why gaps are emerging?
The gaps keep coming, but we need to stick on, right?
True, true.
So
That is correct.
uh,
We need to stick on. That is correct.
completely accepted. Yeah, it is completely accepted, but yeah, the firmness, the discipline is required.
So which means that
So
there is some layers where it is not yet accepted.
no, that's the ignorance part where it keeps think uh, it is accepted, but again, it doesn't. What do you say? It doesn't uh, reflect at time on time. Like sthita pragna is required. So if I'm shaken, I have to go back to the root statement. But how fast is the recovery time to touch upon? Although I have accepted, plays a vital role. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Anything more that you would like to bring up, Satish ji?
Like to be in that acceptance mode always, but yeah, it is. It's not even a moment. Yeah, it keeps kidding, but yeah, reinforcements are always. Yeah,
Okay.
it doesn't help with a what do you call stick-on pad or whatever you have in front of your desk. If you put also, yeah, the routing is very much required, and those methods like Nidhi and all have to be done, but we get carried away with so many other things that again, yeah, discipline matters. Yeah.
Hmm. Saravanan, you wanted to add
Yeah,
something?
yeah, nice discussion. Just wanted to, yeah, question further on this. So, Satish ji, so you're saying that uh, like what are you saying? Postulate, right? In case of postulate, you, as you said, like you just don't question, and you are able to build all the concepts on top of it, right?
Yeah.
Drawing a similarity to this, if Guru has said you are Brahman, and none of the changes that are going through that are happening is not for you, um, I would expect that like the rest of the life should be built on this statement, which means
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
That's the wish and
Right,
will.
but
Yeah.
if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't become that. As you draw the comparison to postulate, it does not become, because uh, one you on one side you accept it, on the other side the disturbances
Yeah.
happen because
Yeah.
eh, that the only way can disturbance can happen if you don't use the fundamental um, statement.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Sarvaranji, I would like to bring again Sai Satcharita. There are two instances there where in one of the chapter, Hemant Pant, who writes this book, right? He says there are three types of disciples for a guru. Uh, So the quality of acceptance or matters there. One who is on the journey, who has reached the journey, one who does immediately whatever the Guru expects is one statement in one chapter he says that. And also in some other chapter, or maybe the same chapter, I don't recollect, Baba asks for killing one goat which is almost in its last stages. So he has his close disciples nearby, and we asked to kill that. Okay, so all of them, I mean, they're so close to Baba, but they behave differently. And one, I think it should be Kaka Sahib Dikshit, is a very orthodox Brahmin who has never seen any ahimsa. He gets ready. So that's where I want to also reach, but it's a journey. I don't know if I could make that establish the essence of it of our discussion.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it'll be good to introspect. The gap. Why? I agree. I accept, but I'm not there. Where is the conflict coming from?
Yeah, non-duality is there. I mean, the maturity again is just a journey. Yeah. So
non-duality or duality is there?
oh, sorry, duality. I'm sorry.
Duality is there. Okay. Okay.
Thank you
you.
very much, Guruji. Anybody else likes to reflect on this question? Apta vaakya, what is its purpose?
Can I go, Vijayji?
Yes.
It's my observation and understanding. Vakya is means statement, we all know. So apta has certain meanings. Apta means we can say trustworthy. So apta vakya is a trustworthy statement. Or apta also means connected. So it is connecting a statement that is connecting me with something. So apta vakya, usually we refer to scriptures like Vedanta. And where does this Veda and Vedantas come from? These come from rishis. And who are these rishis? These rishis are one second, Vijay. Digi, can I call you? I am in AVSC class. These and how these rishis actually they did not write. They taught their disciples these statements because they were able to merge themselves with the super consciousness or the supreme consciousness, or they attained a state of non-duality where they were able to listen to some sound that is already in this cosmos, and that is how they received this. So, and these vakyas we say trustworthy because it is directly coming from the universe. So it is apta vakya. And how for us, we are not rishis. So how can we trust these vakyas? We trust these vakyas because it is explained to us through a person who has also attained such a state where he has merged with or she has merged with the universe and able to understand the truth. Which is not why it is truth, because it is not going to change according to person or time or anything. It is the same, it is there, and it will be there for everybody, anybody in this universe. And what is the purpose of it? And the purpose of these vakyas is to understand, to unwind to correct the misunderstanding of the jivatmas, because we acquire the wrong understanding from the society, from our misunderstanding. We will go and read on our own the scriptures, try to understand. So what happens is we acquire more misunderstandings and incorrect knowledge, and only the guru or the one who has understood the truth, who is living that truth, if they explain, we can correct ourselves. The misunderstanding can be corrected, and the thought process, because everything is a thought, as we discussed in the beginning of this session. We were discussing about a time, space, attributes. So everything is a thought. So uh, by default, many of us are living in a misunderstanding, incorrect thought. So that needs to be corrected to attain liberation or mukti. So these vakyas, which help us to understand the truth and correct ourselves, the correct our thought, and or our correct our misunderstanding. These are called apta vakyas.
So I want to ask one clarification. Let's take a different example. Let's take an example of a child and a mother. So, and let's take the situation of the child has to now come to know about the father. There are two specific things that I want you to reflect on. One is, how does the child know that it is my mother? First thing. Second thing is, how does the child come to recognize the father? Can you reflect on these two? And is there a relationship to what we are discussing here?
Absolutely, Vijayji. Because as you said, the mother and child relationship, this is very much important to for Guru and Sishya, because that is the basic sampati we need to accept a person as our Guru. So how a mother and child have that bonding, how the child is trusting mother, it is natural. By birth, the child knows this is my mother, and right from beginning they have that bonding. So when the mother says this is your father, the child accepts this is my father. Similarly, in our Guru Sishya Parampara, uh, in my understanding, in my experience, we can meet so many people. There are many evolved people around us. When we meet a person, there is a certain kind of connection that happens, uh, where we'll go out of thoughts. Maybe all our inner questions will be answered, and there is a peace and silence in our mind, which brings that trust in the Guru. And when that trust, that sampati is that faith is developed, then only we can believe the aptavakyas. Or else there will be always doubts, hundreds of doubts popping up. Why is this? How is this? We may not be able to directly accept the vakyas.
So what is then a true aptavakya? Is it what has been uttered by that who you call as someone I'm willing to trust? Is it what has been uttered, or what is really aptavakya there?
The knowledge, the jnana.
So maybe the first time that that whoever that you say you're trusting may have simply asked, so what is your name? So they may have asked like that. Is that the aptavakya? What is aptavakya then? Is it that after you get to know each other and after some time only they come and tell you, okay.
Aptavakya can be anything, because that depends upon the sadhana of the Sishya. Just for evolved sadhaka, just who are you, what is your name, such a simple question can enlighten them. So for in their case, that is the apta vaakya, because the guru knows which question will awaken this shishya.
So what was the apta vaakya between the child and the mother?
Apta vaakya between the child and the mother. Uh,
What built that trust?
what built that trust? I'm not understanding the question, Vijayji.
Is there a apta vaakya between child and mother also?
No.
Then how is that bond happening then?
It is happening naturally.
What is meant by that?
So there need not it is not necessary that there need to be certain statements or conversation need to happen to build the trust.
Is that possible with the guru?
Yes. It is possible.
So then what is apta vaakya?
Apta vaakya is to point out that I am that.
But
So
pointing
to
out
clear that non-duality and
pointing out
understand.
comes afterwards, no? The mother knows the child. Child knows the mother. There is no speech also there, right?
But child always think that I am the child. Mother sees the child as this is my child. I and the child are one. That is not understood there. To understand
that is next level, no? But the child doesn't really start like that. Child, for the child, the mother is the world. There's a complete trust and acceptance in whatever the mother offers, no?
For certain period of time.
Till the mind develops. That's a secondary effect of world, right? So till some time, there is nothing other than the mother, no? And there is no one who has to come and tell them, the child, this is your mother.
I don't understand what am I missing, Vijayji.
You're not missing anything.
No, there needs to be some correction in my understanding.
So, by the question, we always tend to focus only on vaakya, means it is something that has to be spoken. What is the unspoken vaakya, ji?
Love, the affection, the compassion.
For the sake of discussion, we can have vaakyas about that also, no? So what is then truly the apta vaakya between the child and the mother?
Pure compassion and love.
There is something that, for the sake of our discussion, we are calling it by pure compassion, pure love, something like that. It's a word. But you and I have a feeling, have an experience of that. To describe may be very difficult. Because, if I continue to ask you, define love, impossible. Define compassion, impossible. Define trust, impossible. But there is something that all of us know. So then what is the apta vaakya with the Sadguru? The very presence of the Sadguru. Because it is in the presence of the Sadguru that there is a awakening of who you are. Because Sadguru is no different from you. So apta, the most intimate one for you is you only. How much ever we speak of anything else, the most intimate for you is you only. So what we call as a heart to heart, we use all these words to describe this. A heart to heart. I had a heart to heart feeling, some kind of a connection, some kind of, we described, you described so far in all these kind of sentences, some kind of a connection. We feel something. So the true aptavakya is that. But because there is a layer of mind that is collected by the society information, that layer has to be removed through spoken vakyas. After many years, the child may come and question the mother, are you really my mother? Maybe some situation where out of frustration or whatever, anger, the child may ask such a question. Is he really my father? How could you do this to me? And your mother wouldn't have done all this to me. So all this can happen. That is because of the situation. So has these two layers. There is a unspoken heart-to-heart connection, and that happens because it's the truth, because that is who you are. Sadguru is no separate from you. Though through the eyes you may see some form, and the tendency in the mind to associate Sadguru with that form, Sadguru is truly your true self. So aptavakya is that which awakens that truth within you. Rest everything else is merely vakyas, sounds. Because those sounds have been coming at you for so long. Please notice, you go to a temple, in the temple dwara also it may have been written, Tattvamasi. Or somebody giving a discourse on the television may also say, we are all divine. But none of that may awaken. So awakening happens, the mother and the child knows the mother. If I keep on prodding, tell me how, there is no answer. But the child simply says, I know, that's all, and walks away. So the true purpose is to simply awaken you to your own nature. And whatever the societal confusions that may have been gathered, like you said rightly, due to various impressions, various experiences of life, those can be removed through various kinds of spoken vakyas. So, mauna vyakya prakatita parabrahma tattvam yuvanam. In the presence of the Sadguru, that which is awakened is your own true nature. And Sadguru is no separate from you. So that truth, that feeling, that very, it's not a transaction, that very presence, that which awakens is that aptavakya. Because that's the most intimate and it's at the subtlest level. at the heart level. Then comes all this explanation.
Yes, Ji.
Anything more you want to say or add, Anupamaji?
And the purpose is to awaken
To your own nature.
true nature.
So both are important. Both are important. Depending upon the mind, there may be a lot of questions, because some questions may be the blocking questions. So those have to be addressed. So that's why we call it as someone who is Brahmanishta and Shrotriya. Brahmanishta because he's none other than you. Shrotriya
Able
because
to
he's able to
explain.
employ techniques.
It is again my misunderstanding or misconception that I'm seeing the Sadguru as a form, another form. Yes, Ji.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to reflect on this question or any other points you want to add? Hariom Nalini Amma. Padmaji, you want to add anything?
No, sir, I think it's clear.
Rajita ji, is there anything else from your side? Saravanan, is there anything else from your side?
No, well covered. Maybe just to add, it is all these statements is still for the mind at the mind level as one operates, and until one, if the mind is active, it's going to keep questioning and right, as we say, mind is the cause for both bondage and liberation. So by by clarifying it, one needs to get past the mind to live in the truth, right? And in the case of child, it was because the mind was absent, so there was no challenge to the truth. Yeah. So and I also feel it is important to protect the mind as well. I would say, like, fence it as it's going through this purification process. To complete. Okay, otherwise, it's going to be like on one side, one is getting the truth, on the other side, the society ideas are being poured, and it's not going to go anywhere. Right? Yeah. And that may be one reason when someone feels that not making progress, it's more of the satsang is doing its job. It's taking one towards the truth, while it's not protected. It's not fenced, where like it's getting uh, diluted all the time. I think, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. This will-
Thank you, Mr. Ranji.
Thank you.
So if there are no more questions or any more additions, let us end it here.
Hari Om. Hari
Hari
Om, Vijayji. As Shravanji said, sorry, Saravananji said, till we have that functional mind, that is, so these apta vakyas are the guiding force. They will be guiding us towards attaining the no mind state. So, like a mother is required until the child attains some age, in order to make sure that he is protected, or his mind is protected from other intruders. So, in the same way, we need to protect our mind, and because the mind is like a monkey, as we all know. So, and all the other material things will be dragging our mind towards the distractions. So, through these apta vakyas, we have to catch hold of these apta vakyas. Before catching hold of these apta vakyas, we should have a mother, like a mother. We should have a Sadguru who is. We should trust in that Sadguru, and these apta vakyas are like pointers. So they help us to take us from these distracted mind to focused mind, and then from focused mind to no mind state. And then as our Prabhuji's Vakya, Nanu Nanembudu Nanalla. So that is also a Apta Vakya, according to me. Is it right, Vijayji? Is it an Apta Vakya or Nanu Nanembudu Nanalla? Or
Aptavakya is that which takes you home, which helps you to discover your own true nature. So
okay, then
it doesn't necessarily have to be any particular Vedantic statement also. As
okay,
an example, when Ajja asked Prabhuji, inquire who are you, that became the Aptavakya. It is not what is said, but who says to who. Those are the only two parameters, which is the next question actually. See, Aptavakya, Prabhuji's Aptavakya, if let's say is for a stone, it may not do the work. The Prabhuji that we know what we are referring is, Prabhuji as another person. So as a Sadguru, as somebody who we experience in the form. And that Prabhuji's Aptavakya, that very statement, to a stone may not do any work. To a child, will simply open up something deeper.
correct. The same thing. So Aptava, to connect between the to have a connection between a Shishya and a Guru, Aptavakyas are like what we can call it is a bridge. So the Sadguru guides the disciples to recognize his own nature, and he shows the pathways. So Aptavakyas are the pathways, according to me. So
Correct.
Shishyas should be able to tune to that frequency so that they can connect it easily.
For example,
Thank you.
once I was in our institute, Acharya Vinayji's home. We were going for some program, and I was loading something from the garage to the car, and we were running short of time, so I was in a lot of hurry, and I was scrambling. And Guruji was standing there. He said simply, Vijay, just relax. Suddenly something totally shifted.
Wow, very nice.
So it is not the English, or it is not the Sanskrit, or it is not the, what is the word, but what it does.
And to which layer it connects. Like Manomaya, the koshas, if we look at the koshas, it's, see, we have Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. If a guru speaks, it directly connected to the Anandamaya kosha, according to my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, Vijay.
It is, in one sense, if you have to speak as two separate entities, it is what can be simply called as a heart to heart. There is all these layers and everything is a way of, once again, for the mind to conceptualize a phenomena and wanting to explain that phenomena, to understand that phenomena. So at the most simplistic level, that's why we invoke the example of a child and a mother. So you don't have to feel, okay, which layer I'm speaking to. You when you say I love my child, you will simply love your child. There is no, oh, I love the physical layer of my child. Oh, I am loving now the Anandamaya layer of my child. No, you love. Love is something that permeates every other layer, because layers are only a conceptualization in the mind, simply thoughts. There is nothing called as those layers. Those layers are there only to explain something, to get rid of something. The layers are not there. So what is speaking is the very presence to itself. When that connection happens, then there is total immersion in that. Is it making sense?
Great. Yes, Vijay. Great. Thank you.
All right. Are there any other points anybody wants to bring up? Okay. So then with this, let us conclude our today's session. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu.